The Last of Us Online is officially cancelled, Death Stranding is getting a movie, and Twitch decides, maybe nudity is actually okay. I'm Ash Dixon, and this is GINX News. I think many of us saw this coming, but The Last of Us Online has been cancelled by Naughty Dog. It was set to be an epic online zombie survival live service game, you know, like the day before, so it was gonna be great. Originally, it was meant to be released as an extra mode with part 2, but it became too big for its boots, and Naughty Dog were like, damn, this could be its own thing. Which was the first sign of trouble, and since then there's been several delays and doubts whether it would ever actually see the light of day, and now it's got the final nail in the coffin. Naughty Dog have said themselves, in ramping up to full production, the massive scope of our ambition became clear. To release and support The Last of Us Online, we'd have to put all of our studio resources behind supporting post-launch content for years to come, severely impacting development on future single-player games. The studio is, of course, famed for those single-player experiences, so that's the path they've decided to stick to. In fact, they even teasingly mentioned a brand new single-player game that they have in the works. I guess that softens the blow just a little bit. And look, if that was the choice that they were faced with, then they've clearly made the right decision. But honestly, surely the writing was on the wall for well over a year now. It's not a mystery how resource heavy live service games are. Perhaps they were hoping for some kind of investment so they could massively expand their teams, who knows? But what do you reckon? Perhaps you think they should have stuck it out. Let us know down in the comments. A live-action Death Stranding movie has been greenlit. That's right, one of the most cinematic games of recent times finally has a production company, and it's one that makes a lot of sense. It's A24. Hideo Kojima has announced it, they're adapting the game, and it might just be the perfect collaboration. The studio behind Moonlight, Hereditary, and Everything Everywhere All at Once have a reputation for making solid, award-worthy movies, so while Kojima could presumably have collaborated with a bigger studio, it appears as though he's choosing quality over blockbusteriness, which should really come as no surprise to anyone who follows his work. He said, A24 was born into this world about 10 years ago. Their presence is singular within the industry. They are like no other. I have been attracted to their creations, and they have even inspired my own work. Their innovative approach to storytelling aligns with what Kojima Productions have been doing for the last 8 years. Now we are making a Death Stranding movie together. Kojima Productions' 8th anniversary is also tomorrow, and a load of celebs have sent messages to congratulate the company, including the director of the only good recent Star Wars film, Frodo Baggins, and some guy called Jeff. With Death Stranding 2 and the Jordan Peele collaboration OD also on their way, it's going to be a big couple of years for Kojima and crew, but as far as the Death Stranding movie is concerned, anyone who's worried that it will just be a shot-for-shot remake of the game should take some comfort. Kojima has also said, there are a lot of game adaptation films out there, but what we are creating is not just a direct translation of the game. The intention is that our audience will not only be fans of the games, but our film will be for anyone who loves cinema. We are creating a Death Stranding universe that has never been seen before, achievable only through the medium of film. It will be born. While TV adaptations of games seem to be going through a purple patch, I'd say movies have yet to have a standout translation. Apparently, Werewolves Within was decent, but I don't think anyone actually watched it. So here's hoping we're finally gonna get the good, grown-up, big screen adaptation that we've all been crying out for what seems like forever. Now, it was only yesterday that I was giving praise to the Switch port of Hogwarts Legacy. The game is set to be the best-selling title of the year over in the US, and I was like, it helps that the Switch port came out recently and it was actually decent. Well, I'm forever destined to be the fool because they've now released a new set of patch notes, and holy moly, it just keeps on going. I mean, seriously, it's just comically long. If we had the time and the budget, this is where I'd whip out a scroll, bonk it down, and then watch that bad boy unroll across the floor and out onto the busy streets of London town. The notes did catch me off guard though. I was under the impression they actually pulled off the game on Switch, or maybe that's just because the bar for Switch ports at this point is just very, very low. In fact, the patch notes are so long, when you click on the entire image on Twitter, you just get this absolute abomination on your screen. Big respect to whoever thought just uploading that was a good idea, because it's so big that if you zoom in, it just goes so low res, you can't even read it. Trust me, I tried. Also, some companies like to mix up the wording in their patch notes, you know, just to spice things up. But no, not Avalanche. Instead, every single sentence starts with addressed. All 322 of them. Trust me, I counted. Obviously, there's way too much here to actually get into the nitty-gritty, but basically every conceivable type of bug has been fixed. And you know, it might just be a world record for longest patch notes ever, though I haven't verified that because this is definitely enough patch notes for one day. Twitch has decided that nudity and sexual content is in fact A-OK. The platform was already infamous for its hot tub streams, but despite, you know, supposedly being a site for streaming games, it's decided to double down. Now, for clarity, this doesn't mean suddenly anything goes. This ain't no Twitch hub. And they've brought in the new rules following the latest topless meta, where streamers were filming themselves from deceptive angles to make it look as though they were, you know, topless. And though those people have since been banned, Twitch is now trying to revamp the site's rules on sexual content to make them less confusing. So what have they done? Well, it's Twitch, so they've now got a new policy with even more ridiculously ambiguous language. Yay! You see, completely nude imagery is now completely fine, as long as it's artistic or fictionalized. The problem is Twitch, perhaps the most subjective question of all time is, what is art? I personally think Masayoshi Sokin's heartfelt rendition of Lahi is art. I mean, just take a listen. Now, fair enough, some people may disagree. Well, that's until the sick automaton solo comes in. At that point, I think everyone is convinced. Well, everyone except this woman. But what does she know? Even just his departure from the stage was a work of art. I could only wish to one day be that cool. Right, but back to Twitch. How do they define what art is? Well, they have a handy FAQ. They say drawn, animated, or sculpted content of fully exposed female presenting breasts and/or genitals or buttocks, regardless of gender, are all fine. Which does make sense. The human body isn't inherently sexual, and some of the world's most famous pieces of art contain nudity, such as your mum's nudes. Twitch will also now allow for body writing on female presenting breasts and/or buttocks, regardless of gender, which, okay, oddly specific. And you can now perform erotic dances that involve disrobing or disrobing gestures, such as strip teasers. Well, as long as you slap the appropriate label on your stream. But don't worry, twerking, grinding, and pole dancing will all be allowed without a label from now on. And as you can imagine, some Twitch streamers have been making the most of the changes. I thought I'd have a look at what's going down on the Just Chatting section of Twitch, and the first thing that was recommended to me was this. Notice the title, This is Art. Oh, and the stream with the most viewers was whatever this is, and it was already hilarious enough watching this, but then she switched it up to this angle, totally not trying to highlight anything in particular there. And look, I respect the hustle. When it comes to artists being able to draw nude images, I'm 100% on board. I am a bit torn when some of the content is just fundamentally sexual, as other platforms exist for exactly that. And if Twitch is meant to be for gaming, that's what should be on the site. And that means there's still totally room for sex workers to use it, but for, you know, when they're playing games, especially as Twitch's audience isn't just for adults. Although I have heard people argue that these thirst trap streamers are hogging all the views from legit creators. I'm telling you right now, bro, no one who's tuning in to X Cyberkitty is interested in your COD stream. Either way, I'm curious what you all think. Have they finally got the rules right? Would you make any changes? Let me know in the comments down below. And that's the show. What a way to finish the week. A like and subscribe would be massively appreciated. Please help us get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. I might even host a special stream as a reward now that I can. Watch yesterday's video somewhere around here. Have a great weekend, and we'll see you Monday.